Surreyed and every night it's the same shit. YOLO. That's how you living? Well, here, take this pill and call me up in 30 minutes. I'll be there for you. Oh, yes, I care for you. Yeah, at least until it come down and now I wanna hear from you. Cause then it's back to reality, making my major moves. And to be honest, none of those do include you. If you can get in where you fit behind the stand out, I call you when I pull up at your man's house. Hashtag.
You are now tuned in to Worcester's premier podcast, A Quarter in a Dream. The podcast for the culture. The podcast for the dreamers.
Yo, it's your boy, Surrey I Am 5G. Please don't forget the 5. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of A Quarter in a Dream, the podcast. And today, I'm sitting with my man, Eric Sutman. He is the Director of Operations for MakerSpace called Technocopia in Worcester, Mass. So let's just, what is a MakerSpace, right? Because we all just want to know. We've been hearing it a lot lately. It seems like every city that somebody comes in from, they're like, yeah, we got a MakerSpace where we're from. And the best way I can describe it is it's like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory for people who love to play with their fucking hands. Like, it's crazy, right? The sky's the limit here. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little rundown on, what a MakerSpace is?
Yeah, MakerSpace is sort of it's a kind of community workshop, right? So everyone has shared access to the tools, and people come together to use the tools and to be around other creative people. So another way to say it is it's kind of like a gym membership for tools, right? The same way you pay your member dues, go to a gym, you go in and use the treadmills, go in and use the weight room, right? We're the same way. Our members pay their dues. They come in. Just when they come in, they use the table saw, right? They use the laser cutter, the 3D printers. So it's a creative space. It's a community for people to join, come together, share ideas with.
Word. That's lit. So yeah, again, guys, I had come and done a walkthrough. Can you tell me about some potential partnerships that you may have outside of maybe the M1, or if you're allowed to speak on that, just so the viewers get a sense of if they are from a community of people. Like, do you offer community passes or community rates rather than just individual memberships?
Yeah, so I mean, by and large, it's the individual rates. We do programs, Everyday Miracles. We've got, the program that we're spinning up with. We've done programs with Hector Reyes' house,
Nice.
And we're in talks with other groups to offer some other programs. We also have some programs that are we also offer free nights, right? So nights that folks can come in and at least access the community, work on some projects. Every Thursday night is our open hack, right? Okay. And that's open to non-members and members to come in. There's some limits for safety's sake on what you can use, but I get it. You want to come in and use the Cricut, that's fine. You want to come in and just sit and be around other creative people working on projects.
Right.
Twice a month, we've got our sewing circle. It's the Stitching Bitch.
Okay. The Stitching Bitch. I like that.
We got crafting it for the gamer types.
Okay.
And we're rolling out more all the time. We've got every second Wednesday. In fact, every second Wednesday of the month is our Comunidad Creativa, which is like the Spanish language version of the Open Hack. Okay. So we do that once a month. Would be nice to roll it out more, but
it is just starting out. Yeah, right. So yeah, you guys are definitely making waves in the city. So right now we're sitting in the embroidery shop, and are there any limits on what you can create embroidery wise, right? And no, we're not encouraging copyright infringements or trademark infringements, but this is just a solid question, right?
For personal use, you can absolutely do it. But one of the cool things about these shops, right? There's sewing machines, surgery, different types of sewing machines, leatherworking stuff, right? You can make pretty much any garment that you can see. Silk screen it here, dyeing. The embroidery in particular is fun because like all the different shops here, we've got 6 or 7 different shops have some version of like a digital fabrication, right? Which means that you're taking a design from a computer and you're plugging it into a machine, and that machine is then going to right. And the embroidery machines that we have here take digital designs, you clean it up, you tell it how you want the stitches laid out, and it will embroider that digital design onto the material.
So I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, not to say, but I mean, like if you guys catch me in, you know, the Tommy Hilfiger summer line before it comes out, I'm just saying, right? It wasn't made here. So I like the woodwork. What have you seen? What are some of the projects that you have going on as far as the woodworking shop goes?
The wood shop. You know, the woodworking shop is probably our most popular shop, and it's really fully kitted out. Right, people are doing simple stuff. Right, they're making like carts or like racks or something.
Right,
but they're all the way up to and including like custom furniture. Like we've had people who are like specifically doing commissioned like fine carpentry out of our shops, right? And making, sometimes like several $1,000 like pieces of furniture for customers. Cabinetry, all sorts of fine wood.
Yeah. So you know what adds, because honestly, when I saw the big machine that cuts into the table side slabs of wood, I was like, the first thing I thought was Sons of Anarchy, right? You know, the table with the Grim Reaper in it. I'm like, I'm making one of those, right? So is that even possible?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the CNC router, right? We're just talking about the digital, fabrication.
Yeah.
CNC router, it's a big spinning bit that can carve in and cut through wood. But you can, it's taking a digital design. So we can take like a picture from online, you can take a 3D file and carve it out, right?
Right.
There's limits, but like it takes you a little while to really run against it. How about that?
Okay. Well put. So the glass blowing.
Yeah.
Right?
Glass, flame working. So smaller scale. Yeah.
Okay, so flame working. Like are people allowed to make like bombs and shit over there?
We have had people make absolutely.
Yeah. People have made bombs, guys. Yep. All right, we don't do that kind of stuff over here, right?
No, it's a water pipe for tobacco purposes only.
For tobacco purposes only, people. Yes. Again, I want to. So the view out here is amazing. How does this help with work?
Yeah, I mean, there's a school of thought that like the surroundings you put yourself in, not only affect your mood. Well, they obviously affect your mood,
right? Fucking
but like they affect your creative abilities. They affect your productive abilities.
Absolutely.
And so we're kind of spoiled. We're here on the 6th floor of the printers building. We've got like panoramic views. We've got the whole floor, so we've got these nice windows. You can see out, all across the city.
Yeah, listen, it's it's fucking amazing. Like it simply is, right? So like, all I can when I come in here, the aesthetic reminds me of something that I would see in like a movie, right? Like some place like Jason Statham comes to get all of his guns when he's on his way to go get his wife back from the terrorists and kidnappers. Like this is what it looks like to me. Like it's one of those. I don't know. I don't really know what the word to place on the aesthetic, but it's very
penthouse.
Yeah. You know what? Like almost like posh New York.
Yeah.
Penthouse vibes, right? Manhattan.
Yeah, except it's a penthouse welding shop.
right. With the cargo elevator and and that's great. Right? Yeah. So again, how did you come to being director? Like what was like, hey, I'm gonna get that job, or who were your humble beginnings that led you into a place like this?
When this place was founded about 10 years ago, I was a member. I was like involved, right? So I was doing some of the like graphic design stuff for the space. I was helping out just as a member. But I worked, I had my day job. I was doing other stuff. And I was happy to just be any old member for years, right? The way that changed is that I got laid off during the pandemic. So, like a lot of folks, right? And I was like looking around for different jobs. I was trying to find something.
Sorry to cut you off, but
yeah, absolutely.
Trump gave out a lot of fucking money during the pandemic, though. So I hope you were able to.
I got some. Yeah, I was able to get mostly the Trump, and then just because of the timing, saved my bacon, to be honest.
hey, thank God for America.
Yeah, I've got a wife and kids. It was like, thank you.
Absolutely. So,
but the timing on that, it was just like it was kind of fine stuff. Everything was moving remote, and so little opportunities to do stuff with Technocopia popped up. Having been a member since the beginning, knowing the folks who run the place,
kind of like right?
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, I'll do this whole thing; it'll be fun, And then, kind of a part-time role came up. I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do this. Time to be full-time.
Word.
Executive director, who's here, stepped down. And said, hey, step up. And so it was just little by little, right?
Okay.
I've always been a creative type, and the fact that I can get away like working here and doing all sorts of fun stuff to make a living.
It's almost like not even having a fucking job, right? It's almost like just getting paid to do what you love, in essence, right? Or
there really is sort of a kid in a candy shop.
Aspect of it, right?
Yeah, like just being here means that, like, all right, I got to clear my head. Okay, well, there are a lot of things I can do to clear my head, right? And they're all, 100 feet away from me, and I can be doing some creative project.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's the craziest thing you've seen made on a 3D printer?
On a 3D printer?
Yeah.
It's a long list. The thing that comes to mind that is, I think, craziest is there's a trick you can do on a 3D printer, which is pause, right? Big whoop, right? Well, what you can do, though, is, 3D printer, it's kind of like a hot glue gun that goes around.
Yeah.
It builds things up layer by layer.
Right.
If you tell it to pause after it's done like the first layer and then move out of the way, what you can do is you can lay down a fabric, like a linen or a tulle, like a thin fabric, over top of that. And then when it starts printing again, it's going to glue between the holes in the fabric to the plastic down below.
Right.
And so what you can do is you can make, like, if you ever seen like a punk motorcycle jacket with spikes on it, or if you ever see if you imagine like a row of like reptile spikes, or like it's hard to explain. I'll show it to you afterwards.
Yeah.
You can basically,
when I see it, we'll put a picture of it in the episode. It's gonna be like right here. Yeah, this is what the fuck he's talking about right here. But isn't this shit cool?
You can like make reptile scales, 3D print those, and they're the fabric is embedded in them.
Okay.
So you don't have to glue anything, you don't have to lay anything out,
right? And
they will never come off because they are like glued around the plastic.
Right.
It's a really neat trick, and it's like, there's no other way to do that.
Right. But only really. With a 3D. Right,
yeah. Right. Any other way you're going to do that is going to be more error prone, and it's going to take you hours and hours of laying things out by hand. So it's a heck of a trick.
Right. I did hear, right, that it does take hours. It does. For a laser printer to ultimately get what you want.
Yeah. So some of the tools that do the digital work, they're going to take a long time. Laser cutter. The longest I've ever seen is like a 2 or 3 hour job on the laser. That's pretty long, but you're doing like a big detailed engraving. 3D printers, you could easily print something that takes a full day, like 24 hours. It's going to be big, it's going to be complicated, but during that 24 hours, like, you're going about the rest of your life.
Right.
There's with a 3D printer, at least, there's a little bit of set it and forget it.
Right.
You put it down. You're going to come back tomorrow and get it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. What have you built? Like, have you put any additions on your home build out of this place specifically?
Oh man, I'm a pretty good DIY. We've got a couple. So for me, mostly the stuff that I've done at my house has been like um, smaller stuff, like
Yeah.
shelves,
Okay.
a little bit of, maybe a table here or there, but like, so like smaller stuff, like decent amount of stuff.
Right.
But we've got a couple folks who are like contractors or handymen who run out of the space,
Mm-hmm.
and like our woodshop manager does handyman stuff.
Yeah.
And, he came into the wood shop to, set up railings to like rehang my cabinets,
Nice.
right?
So yeah, it really is like a camaraderie here. Like
Oh
people
yeah,
that come
absolutely.
in and you begin to know them, grow up with him,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I guess then in essence, right, that's what makes a makerspace different from like say, um, them throwing woodworking night at the local school, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like, I think some people think like, all right, you're going to have access to tools. It's like a wood shop Kinko's. It's not, right? You go to Kinko's, maybe you sit at the computer for a while, but like, there's no community.
Right. There's very little communication in terms of person to person or that interpersonal contact, right? Or that relationship building.
Yeah. Part of what makes a makerspace beautiful is this idea that like, well, I'm going to go work on my project and someone else is going to be curious and we're going to start talking about it.
Right.
And they're going to give me ideas and I'm going to give them ideas. Then both of our projects are going to be better because we have that conversation.
All right. Bet. Has anybody here ever gotten to a fist fight for stealing someone else's idea?
No.
Okay, great.
No, people are pretty good about, like it is it's a community, right?
Yeah.
Like with all the like ups and downs of any community.
Right.
But like, it is true that like people here are generally pretty like accepting and like open with their ideas and they want to share and make each other better. And respect each other. Like that's important too.
Right. So yeah, that's obviously very, very important, especially more so, now more so than ever, because like with a lot of the stuff that's going on out there with, like it doesn't even matter what gender you are anymore. Everybody's being assaulted. Everybody's like, people are levying their money against people and all types of craziness, right? So like when we're dealing with the world, right, where we're starting to find out that a lot of these, people that we look up to, right, who they really are in real life, right? It's cool that
corrupts, man.
Right. But it's cool that there's a space like this where no matter who you are outside of there, you're all the same once you walk into the door, right?
Yeah. That's
and,
right.
and this isn't like and when I tell you like dreamers, they're dealing with like almost millions worth of equipment here, right? So like you could be a powerful player here if you wanted to, right? But everybody is just regular Joe when they're here, right? The regular Joe who has this creative talent, they want to share it with the rest of the world. And that's what I like about this space, right? Is I've never seen anyone here that like if they ask for help, someone wasn't immediate like, yeah, what do you need help with? Right?
Yeah.
So like how did you build that kind of community, or did it just kind of organically come together?
It does take work, right? There's and like any other project, there's like failures, there's successes. It's important to us that this is a welcoming place. Right? It's important to us that this is a place where like people can come in and feel like they have a home here. And that's tough. It's like what you were saying, like things are tough out there right now, and like that's not always the case. And it's something that we put a lot of thought into, a lot of work into, to like encourage people to respect each other's space when they're here. To like I'll give you an example, right?
Absolutely.
Getting help, right? Asking for help, beautiful, right? Offering someone help when they haven't asked for it is tricky. right? Because they may not feel like you're trying to help them. They may feel like you're trying to explain to them and talk down to them.
Would be really, really condescending.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And no one wants to be here and get condescended to.
Absolutely.
Right? They want to be respected and they want to be allowed to, if you're like just focusing, you put headphones in and you work, like allowed to just get their stuff done, right? Mm-hmm. And so, it's taken conversation and sort of like, part of when members sign up now, part of the standard talking points of like, all right, let's talk about how we act in the space. It's like,
etiquette, basically.
Yeah, it's like, all right, if you see someone who's making a mistake, unless it's unsafe, unless it's dangerous,
you
let them make their mistake. You can offer help, right? But be prepared for the answer to be no, right? If they say no, thank you, like give them their space, right? And that's to me, that's about respect, right? Like, and understanding that like different people have different needs, different people like are gonna interact differently.
And I feel like it also fosters the atmosphere of independence too, right?
Yeah.
So like, there could be this cohesive unit, right? But at the same time, right? Like a lot of us, we like to feel like, look what we did, right? And Dream is like you have to learn stations. So each of these stations is a learning process, right? So I feel like,
it is. Yeah, you can't just walk up to any of them and be a master, right?
And so I feel like if I'm doing something and you walk up and you're like, hey, Alan, you need some help, let me get that for you, right? That's a loss, that's a missed opportunity for me to learn something, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, one of the big things of MakerSpace is this idea of project-based learning. Right? So, like, I think one of the failures in our schools, at least in the past, I mean, I think they're trying to address it now, but like one of the real failures in school is that, like, you ever watch like an 80s movie and it's like there's trigonometry class and they're like, what's the answer? And it's like, why do I have to learn this?
Yeah, right? What am I going to use it for? Yeah.
Trigonometry is really useful if you need it.
Right.
If you're like if you're a roboticist and you're trying to figure out how a leg works in a robot, you need trigonometry and it matters to you. Right. But if you're like a 16-year-old kid and you're not doing anything, like you don't care about trigonometry, like
very much so.
So MakerSpace is one of the big ideas here is that like you learn the thing when you need it, and then it matters. You know what it's for. You're not learning something, just to learn it. Right. You're learning it because you've got a problem to solve or you've got a project to finish, and you need to know that.
Yes. So thank you for even bringing that up, right? Because I do feel like the educational system these days, it's about indoctrinating, right? Like they don't want the critical thinkers anymore, right? Like
they don't teach critical thinking,
right? So and one day I was going through my child's book bag and I pulled out a test and they were grading my child on how well they filled out a McDonald's application. And immediately, right? Like
it's heartbreaking.
It is, right? It's absolutely heartbreaking because my thing is why are they not teaching my child to own some shit instead of teaching them to go to work for the establishment, right? So like I feel like these, right? Like these vocational trainings, right? Or even like places like this should be implemented in the school curriculum because this is real world experience. These are things that you're going to need in the real world, right? So like when you buy a home, right? Like, are you going to waste the $7,000 on a home repair that you could learn to do yourself here, right? And save $5,000. So again, I feel like a makerspace, slowly but surely, it's starting to catch on, but I feel like it's really, really underrated right now to the potential that it has, especially for this next generation coming up.
Yeah, I think I think it's kind of like a new, it's a new way of using tools, right? Like one of the things to think about with the makerspace is a lot of people have wood shops at home. Maybe they don't have the best wood shop. Maybe they've got a few tools and they figure out how to get by with those. But they don't, have all of the tools that we have.
Sandblaster.
Right, exactly. They don't have a sandblaster. Maybe they do. Some people, they've got a mix. They don't have everything because it's all expensive. right?
Exactly.
And even if they've got a great wood shop, how many laser cutters do they have? Or do they have a CNC router? Like you can, you fill up a lot of space with all the tools that you want to have access to.
Yeah.
And if we can find a way to make it accessible to people and share access to those tools, right? Then we can get that in the hands of more people.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Is like getting it in the hands of more people.
Right. Because the more hands you get into, the odds are that they go home and they teach what they know, or they sell the sense of point, right? And make some. Oh, what is Dad talking about? Oh, what was Mom doing? What was Uncle Josh over there? Oh, that's nice. I see. Yeah, Uncle Josh, can I go with you next time? Right? Like, and now it's word of mouth, like you said, right? It's this word of mouth engagement that now people are like, yo, bro, like, let's get over there, right? So, like, can you make sneakers here?
You can make sneakers.
Yeah, you could definitely make sneakers here.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's a lot of work to make sneakers,
but it can be done.
You're gonna have to buy the some special materials. Right. But yeah, you can make sneakers. Yeah.
See, like this is crazy. Like, yeah, my son's probably gonna want to come here and handle the business.
That's a lot of work, but between the sewing machines and the sergers, between the leather working, you're gonna have like riveters, put in like the eyelets.
Oh yeah.
You can put on a design with a silk screen and heat transfer, laser cut out the patterns. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
This is. So, me personally, I couldn't wait to get to the laser cutter because, like, I want to make clothes, but like realistically, right? That's not how it's gonna happen, right? Like, so I had this big.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and that's right.
So I had this big fantasy. I'm gonna run in here, and then that same day I'm gonna leave with this like Levi's jacket with taps.
Yeah, right? I think a lot of folks get that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the most important thing is just to start. And be okay with like, all right, we're going to start small. We're going to build up because every time you do a project, you're going to learn something new, right? And every time you learn something new, you've got a new skill. You can do something bigger, right? And so, like, yeah, sometimes it feels like you're going to take on the world right away. It's like you get into it. It can be a little disheartening, right? You're like, all right, let's get comfortable on the tools. Let's get some quick wins in. Let's get going. And once you've got, kind of the wind under your wings,
then you can
do some pretty incredible stuff.
So question, so the laser cutting for the wood, right? So like we talked about being able to make a table that looks like the shit they had in Sons of Anarchy, right?
Yeah.
So like, could you add color to that as well?
I mean,
you would have to do
a lot of ways you could add color to it, but you're going to do that. Right? Okay. There are a few different ways that you could add color another way, but you're not going to get it out.
Word. Now, what if I wanted to, because right now, me, my cameraman, my photographer, like we're working on building our studio, right? So like we want to get in and maybe get like, some wooden pieces, let's say a quarter and a dream and stuff like that, right? Like, what does it look like realistically being able to get in there and get that done? Like, do we need to take a training first or?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So number one thing is, we give folks unsupervised access to these tools.
Right.
And that means there's some trust that goes on there.
Right. And that access is what hours are we talking?
24/7.
24/7. Yeah. No days off.
There's a key card you can connect.
All hustle, no love.
That's what the membership's about.
Oh, damn. All right, cool. So when I argue with the wife, I'm out, right? I'm here.
You can appreciate that, like, there's some trust that goes on. If someone says, I can't be here 24/7, right? So if you're going to run a table saw, if you're going to run a laser cutter, I need to know that you're not going to hurt yourself,
absolutely,
hurt someone else, or destroy tools, right? Set the place on fire.
Word.
So yeah, number one thing is like, all right, let's get going. Let's figure out how this works and figure out how to run it safely.
Absolutely. And that's another big thing too, is I remember when I came around for the walkthrough, right?
Yeah.
As I had expressed to you, trust has to be a really big thing when dealing with a MakerSpace situation, right?
It is.
Because I mean, again, you're dealing with a bunch of equipment, right? And this stuff has been placed here for the use of everyone, right? So like, would it, so a co-op is where people come, right? And all they all have their own things and they bring them together as one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's got like a stake.
Oh, okay. So never mind. This isn't a
Yeah.
co-op. Okay, no.
It's not technically a cooperative, but like it works in a lot of the same ways, right? Like people are paying into it, keeping the lights on, and like, yeah, sharing in the access, sharing in the shop that they're collectively able to keep going,
Word.
right?
Now, is there like, is this a private company or a public company?
So it's a private nonprofit.
Okay,
So,
so it's not traded on no stock market, right?
Nope.
Shit, 'cause I was gonna say, get your shares now, because you're gonna be rich in a few. For real, huh?
There were, for a while, there were some like for-profit MakerSpaces. Gone away.
Right.
Mostly it's the nonprofits that stick around, in my experience. Yeah, there was one called Fab Lab or Tech Shop that was running, and they had shops all over the place. And in the end, they folded.
Yeah.
They got,
Well, and I'm sorry to put you off, but in my opinion, a for-profit place like this, I feel like it'd be a lot more dangerous, right? Because like at the end of the day, they need that pay, right? They need that pay, right? So like, Jimmy can come in and he can already have 2.5 fingers missing, and he's like, yeah, I do woodworking. Like, well, I know you probably shouldn't let him on the saw, but like he paid $1,000, right? Or even so, like, hey, somebody else wants to be here and they paid more, right? So like, yo, you gotta hurry it up. Whereas opposed to here, right? Yes, you do pay your membership dues, right? But at the end of the day, this is not a for profit. So it's not, staff is contingent upon how many people are brought through the door, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, we want the number one, priority to be correct, right? Not to be, making money for the company, not any of that. Like we want the priority to be supporting the community.
Word.
And you kind of hit on it too there. Like that's the community is the missing ingredient, I think, in a lot of those shops. Like, I've heard some good things about those shops. I'm sure that some of them were great, right? But I don't want to run a Kinko's. There's no community in Kinko's. Right. And at the end of the day, like what really keeps people coming back is the community. What keeps people here is that like
it's true.
There's like important tools that are important to them, but there are also important people that support them.
Right. So like so what I'm hearing is like, people growing attachment to people as well as, these workspaces.
Absolutely.
Right? So like, it becomes like almost like in essence more than a hobby to some people, right? Like it could start out as just a simple thing and turn into like a real, like a larger than life passion, right?
Yeah. Well, and you ever heard the idea of a third place?
No.
Yeah. No. So there's this idea of, I guess in sociology, of a third place, right? And so first place is your home. Second place is your work. The third place is the place you go to do stuff, to be with other people, to be social. You're not going there to make money. It's not your home. You're not going there to sleep, right? You're specifically going out there to be social. And we used to have a lot more third places. We used to have a lot more like, active stuff in the park. Different places that people could just come together. The Romans had public baths, right? Whatever.
Right. The baths and shit like
but
that.
Like, and there are different versions of this, right? Like people might have clubs or community centers they go to, people hanging out at cafes or barber shops, right? This is the place where that if you go there, you're going to know someone. You can just sit and hang out and talk to those people,
and just be cool.
Yeah.
Sure, right.
And that's like one of our most important functions.
Word up. So, are you guys gonna start doing stuff? Well, so we figured out, right? Like we thought this was gonna be like a legit gas powered neon, but we figured it out. So it's not. But is it possible to make things like this here?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, what you do is you buy this, this LED light.
Mm-hmm.
You could cut out these shapes and these channels on the laser cutter and CNC router.
Yeah.
You'd wire it in the electronics shop. Yeah, and then you could absolutely. We've had people make these. Yeah.
Word. So yeah, man, that's actually really, really cool. That's really, really cool. What do you hope? Like, what does a makerspace bring to the community at large? Right. So, like, you actually have prime real estate here, right? So, like, what are you hoping to 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 be able to do for the community as opposed to community can do for you?
So I want to support people.
Hmm.
I want to offer them a community of their own.
Yeah.
I want to connect those people with each other because honestly, genuinely, like there's a lot to be said for sitting in your room alone, working on a painting late at night.
Right.
Oddly specific. That was a lot of my teenage years. Right. There's a lot to be said for like working on stuff late at night on your own. But like sometimes it's just better to like be around other people who are creative.
Right.
Those ideas. Right. That community, that is the thing. That's what I want. I want to offer that to everyone, no matter, where they are, what their background is. I want to help connect them on that basis. And I want to empower them. I want to help them be better creatives and like make cooler stuff for the community.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good that can come from that. Like not just being creative, but also like, this idea of like art therapy and like, you can improve your mental health. You can like be a better version of yourself by having access to those tools, by being creative.
There you go. Now, do you guys, when it comes to being creative, do you guys do like the wine and painting nights?
We don't do those. We've talked. I want to say we've done things like those, like before the pandemic. But yeah, we've had some folks that teach those, but we'll do like different workshops sometimes.
Right.
Normally without.
Okay. So you do like sober nude women sculpting, shit like that.
Not quite, but like yeah. But we'll do like
we're making titties out of clay, y'all.
We'll do different workshops, right?
No, but that's cool, man. That'd be good too. So I'm sorry to cut you off. But I'm a self-proclaimed knowledge whore, right? So the one thing I love to do is learn something new, right? Like I know a little bit about a lot of shit, right? Like not a lot of shit, but there's some sand, right? But I know a little bit, right? And I owe it to places, right, that I can come and express who I really am. So as a kid, right, I grew up in the projects, and unfortunately, I cared more about how they saw me than being who I really wanted to be in life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like when I would get to places like the library, when my friends weren't looking, I'd sneak a book and be like, oh shit, like fuck you guys, I can read books without pictures. Like, you know what I mean? No. But like when I got to the library, right, I was able to be myself. Like I caught a corner, I sat down, right? I found out that I really liked fucking Harry Potter, right?
Hell yeah.
J.K. Rowling, to where we can reach out to like, at-risk youth and maybe say, hey, here's what we can do, right? Maybe we can go into the school system, or we can talk to the governor about, if we want to make the streets better out here, right? We have to give these kids something to fucking do other than, nothing to do, right?
We've dipped our toes into that. Yeah. We used to do a lot more youth stuff. We kind of scaled it back during the pandemic. But, one of the things that we do, and one of the ways that we're supporting that specifically, is we have, we run some programs that we get funding for, and we'll do like workshops and stuff. But also we have a nonprofit membership where like folks who are already doing the work can come here. We give them like a discounts, like 80% off on the membership, and then we can, depending on what's going on, we can maybe like get them trained up on tools for free. And the idea there is that like, all right, cool, we've got our community, we've got our tools,
right?
But like, if I can take the people who are already doing the work, who already know what's going on with at-risk youth, right? And empower them and make them more powerful at what they're doing.
And then they can go bring them up.
Yeah, then I can scale that up, and we can do that good by helping them, helping the people who are already doing it.
Right.
And so, I don't want to say too much because we're really just spinning it up, but, we've signed up under that program, Angel Guzman, who runs Straight Ahead Ministries, who deals with at-risk youth, very much like what you were talking about, under that whole idea of like, we're really hoping it's not, we haven't really gotten there yet, but we're really hoping that he can do exactly that, right? That he can start to
get the
do
guns,
that good work.
get the guns out of their hands, and maybe get a power tool into it.
Yeah.
Right? So
we want to be able to empower him because he knows what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't.
You're right. No, but you know what? That's real, right? So like, where I grew up, you couldn't come there and tell us about a space like this, right? Because we would have automatically been like, dude, go back to Newberry Street, like, bro, you don't belong there, right?
Yeah.
So like, it is about being able to identify too, right? That's a big part of it. Because from my experience growing up where I grew up, I felt like, yes, we had a tight knit community, but I feel like that's one of those situations, right? That's how the system makes it, so that we don't look outside of what we know, right?
Yeah.
We're trapped inside this little rat race, right? Inside this hamster cage, and then sometimes some of us may slip through the cracks, But like again,
yeah. How are you going to take the long view when you're just like treading water to survive? You're just like doing everything you can to survive. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, man, this is amazing. This is amazing. So I know that I saw like different booths in here. Like what's going on in these like those situations? Are people storing stuff? Like what's going on in there?
So our like super users, our heavy users, people who are will rent out workspace.
Okay.
So think of it kind of like an artist studio space, right? Folks will rent out. They're like 50 square feet. Rental bays for you can set up your own desk. You can set up a little bit of storage for your materials, something like that. And or some people are even like mainly doing their work in there.
Right.
We've got a he's just set up his bay little studio.
Word. So he just comes in. This is his studio, right? So this is where he catches his inspiration.
Yeah, for a long time, like pretty much you just see him in there painting, but like now we see him coming here. I see him on the embroidery machine, the sewing machines, like
cool.
Grow.
Yeah. So again, you have every second Thursday night, residents can come in.
Yeah, every Thursday night is open.
Every Thursday night is open at?
Yeah, we won't be here on Thanksgiving.
Oh. So my thing is, right? So like I can come here tomorrow and make some shit.
Yeah. I mean, so let me put a caveat on it.
Yes, please do. Right?
Front about this.
Because you know me, I'll be over here like, yo, listen, he told me I could make shoes, jackets, like Levi's with the tassels. No.
Yeah. A lot of the tools in here that need training. I can't have folks off the street doing it.
Absolutely.
And the reason is there's a little bit of safety, but it's also like I don't have any watching them, and so like I don't. Yeah, there's a liability, there's an insurance thing, but also just like a safety too. Like if I can't have someone like there, like if you're taking a class, I have an instructor there who's like helping you, like showing you how to do it.
Absolutely.
But open hack, like there's like the electronic stuff is up for grabs, the Cricket's up for grabs, like hand tools we've got. And then just like come and bring a little project, like bring something that you've done that you want to show off, like come and meet the people who are in the space and like get to know folks,
right?
And get a feel for it.
All right, nice. So what if I bring a baseball cap? Can I get a baseball cap embroidered tomorrow?
If someone's here who knows how to do that, maybe. Okay. This I will warn you, like that puppy that does the big embroidery takes a lot to set up. Makes a lot of sense. That's a commercial machine. That's
right now, I was gonna say because I'm pretty sure I seen that shit the last time I went to Lake.
Yeah,
Right?
but we might be able to get if we can get your hat squared up in this thing. We might be able to do that.
Okay, cool.
It's all community. It's all who you can sweet talk into helping you out. Because everyone's here to work on their.
I see what I can do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I could hand out. I could leverage a podcast interview for some embroidery. You know what I mean? Like who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, officially, the answer is like, no, bring your project and work on your project and sit. But like, if I'm being really real, like, yeah, if you come and hang out and be like, people start to know you and like you start to like, oh yeah, it's Alan. Alan comes every week and we hang out and we talk. Yeah. Oh, you want something embroidered? Yeah, I can help you with that. Like, yeah, we do that. You know. But it's a social, right? It's a community.
Absolutely. Now, is there food and drinks on Thursday?
People will say it depends.
Right.
Again, officially, no. But like, I will say it does seem like everybody's birthday falls on Thursday because man, I've had more cake than I can tell you. So there will be food. So you have to eat a lot of cake before you get sick of it. At least I do.
Yeah. Right. So, do you stay connected with other makerspaces, nonprofit makerspaces?
Yeah, we'll keep in touch with them. Yeah, so anyone in like Central Mass, we're kind of like the big dog. There used to be workshop in Leicester, but they recently, I'm afraid, closed their doors. I think they're gonna. There's like a group of them that are gonna try and do another one somewhere in the area. I'm not sure exactly where. I think it's gonna be in Millbrae, but.
So what do they do with all that with all of that equipment once they close the door? Like,
oh man, that's a whole big question. Depends, right? If they get it from a grant, they probably have to pass it on to other people. Some of it maybe they're able to sell. Some of it they might not be able to sell. Maybe they end up giving it away. Yeah, like I said, I think the workshop folks there. I think some of them are going to try and open up another one called Skillbird. I think is going to be in Millbrae by the name, but I don't know.
Right.
So
it sounds like it, but we can only speculate.
They're cool. There's some cool folks there that like a lot, and they're a little bit more industrial. They tend to do more like kind of stuff.
Okay.
So,
all right. Cool. Yeah.
Stuff that you can't put on the 6th floor.
At any point, are you guys gonna have like So what would I call it? I don't want to call it alchemy, right? But like, like melting down metals and making stuff
that's
like
we see our friends over at Steelbury.
Okay, yeah,
that's
right.
more what
so
they
that's
do.
the black.
Yeah, that's like a forge.
Right, forge, right.
For that, yeah.
And that would also be very, very.
It's really cool stuff. It's getting that. We're, if I'm totally honest, we're lucky that we've got all our permits in order to it took some work to get the metal shop and the glass shop up and running and kind of above board and it's hard. You're in a downtown building up on the 6th floor, like they're not excited when you ask them for a welding permit.
Right.
They're not happy to hear from you.
Because like you could be burning down prime real estate, right?
Right. So it was a lot of work to like get those shops set up. Folks before my time like put in a lot of work to make sure everything was safe.
Right.
Forge, man, I'd love to have a forge. I don't know if we'd ever be able to get it fit in. Never say never, but
I mean, maybe that, but
Yeah.
Lastly, what do you want people when they come here to take away from this place, their first time coming, right? Like, what is the first time someone walks in and you can zero in on them and say, you know what, that person doesn't be here, but let me see if they want to foster this creative side that they have, right? What is it that you want them to go home telling their family about the first time they come?
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I guess I want people, if you're going home and telling your family, I guess what I want them to take away is that these things are available. These tools are available. This community is like out there to be had.
Right.
There's this quote, like, all right, I'm not really a big Steve Jobs guy, I'll leave my like criticism, whatever. That's fine. But like, I will say, Steve Jobs had this like good quote that was the most important moment in his life was something like, paraphrasing. Most important moment in his life was when he looked around the world and realized that all of it had been built by people who weren't smarter than him. All the roads, buildings, bridges, all the computers, they weren't smarter than him. They were just people. They were just people, and they built all of it. And you can be one of those people too.
Word.
And I would like people to go home and realize that
they can be.
They can do it
too. Right? That was powerful. That shit was wild, man. So I just want to thank you, man, for affording us the opportunity to sit down, right, and pick your brain and figure out what we got going on here. I'm a fan. If there's one thing that I want my fans to take away from coming to a place like this, is like you said, like, yes, this shit is real. Like, when I tell you this place is like the Willy fucking Wonka's chocolate factory of woodwork, metalwork, laser printing, like, bro, the sky's the limit, right? And like, this is one of those places that fosters $1 million ideas. So like, come on down to Technocopia, bro. Eric, he's always here to help. He's a great guy. And again, I just want to thank you for being on the podcast, bro.
Thank you,
so, you know what it is. It's your boy, Suri I Am 5G. 5G. We out of here. Let's get at it.